Court of Appeal is granted a temporary residence in Trump's launch to the leaders of the board of directors. On Friday, the federal appeal court in the Capitol handed over that the Trump administration is a temporary victory, which led to the abolition of the provincial court rulings that ordered the return of Cathy Harris of the National Labor Relations Council, NLRB, and the Entitlement Systems Protection Council. Hello viewers, welcome to Unboxing America. If you are celebrating new information, please like and subscribe to this video and hit the notification bell. Earlier this month, the American boycott judge Bayril Hawal ordered that Join Wilkox return NLRB after her dismissal by President Donald Trump earlier this year. On Friday, the referee depends on both re-eradication, while the case continues. The federal judge rules that Trump will give the head of the special advisor a legal, and will maintain his job. Wilkox filed a lawsuit on February 5 at the federal court in the Capitol, claiming that the shooting on January 27 violated the Congress law that determines and removes NLRB dates. Wilkox told a letter that was expelled because NLRB did not work in a way that is consistent with the goals of his administration. He also pointed to many decisions of the modern board of directors, claiming that Wilkox was unjustified for the interests of employers. On February 10, Wilkox requested a brief ruling on an urgent basis, and after a hearing on March 5, the provincial court ruled that it could remain a member of NLRB. In a similar suit, Harris, a democracy that led the MSPB Protection Council, argued that Trump had no power to end it on February 10 and that he had not provided a fire. However, unlike Wilkox, she did not receive a letter from the president, according to court documents. A lawsuit was filed against February 11, and a local court later granted it a temporary restriction order and returned it to MSPB. Hawal said previously that the case seemed to have exceeded his jurisdiction, saying, "I realize that this court is just a quick leap to reach the Supreme Court." The opinions of the court judges in the Capitol, Justin R. Walker and Karen Lacraft Henderson, a precedent of the Supreme Court, that Congress cannot restrict the authority to remove the president to the agencies that exercise the large executive authority in the case. NLRB and MSPB are executive branch agencies. Follow-up of the case, a new resistance fights the second Trump period by attacking the lawsuits that aim to EOS. The opposition opinion by the judge of the court in the Capitol, Patricia, was claimed. Mellott said that the two opinions are based on the residents rewriting the control of the precedent of the Supreme Court and ignoring the obligatory rulings of this court, all in favor of placing this court in a direct conflict with at least two other departments. The residents' decision also represents the first time in history, as the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court allowed the shooting of members of the multi-member Judicial Council's legal protected through the removal restrictions carried out by the Supreme Court twice. The idea of making an Amazing Friday decision called, claiming that the decision would leave hundreds of legal allegations that were not resolved that the political branches are jointly and baptized to these entities experts. Mellott added that the logical basis for majority decisions publicly calls for the constitutionality of dozens of federal laws to adapt to the removal of officials on multi-member decision-making bodies, everything from the Federal Reserve and the Nuclear Organization Committee to the National Transportation Council and the Court of Appeals in the claims of old warriors. This will be an unusual decision for the lower federal court to take under any circumstances. I wrote an opposition opinion. I cannot join a decision that uses an urgent and initially owned decision by this court to announce a revolution in the law that the Supreme Court has avoided on their dates. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to more information.